On September 1st, 1939, Nazi Germany invaded Poland, beginning the conflict of World War II. Officially, Nazi Germany lasted only 12 years, finally coming to an end when the instrument of surrender was signed by a representative of the German High Command on May 8th, 1945, which officially ended the war in Europe. And I'm going to show that instrument of surrender later on today. The formal abolition of the Nazi Party took place on October 10th, 1945, which was followed by the trials of major war criminals before the International Military Tribunal in Nuremberg. Since its inception, the Nazi Party was ultimately responsible for the deaths of approximately 20 million human beings. So the next occultist I want to explore is Erich Jan Hanyasin. This is the person who trained Hitler in his speaking techniques. Again, most people will have never heard of him, okay? Hitler was a flat speaker. In almost every documented piece of writing about how Hitler spoke before he was trained by Jan Hanyasin, people said he didn't have good inflection in his voice and he did not have good control of the crowd. Wasn't a commanding presence while speaking. Hanyasin changed all of that. Erich Jan Hanyasin was an Austrian hypnotist, mentalist, occultist, and astrologer who instructed Adolf Hitler on how to achieve dramatic effect and elicit emotional responses during his speaking performances. Hanyasin taught Hitler a set of occult speaking techniques that later became known as neuro-linguistic programming, or NLP, which uses word choice, tone, cadence, and body language to subtly influence thought at the subconscious level. Hitler took regular lessons in speaking and in mass psychology from Hanyasin. Hanyasin met with Hitler shortly before the elections of November of 1932, during which Hanyasin taught Hitler his crowd control techniques of using hand gestures and dramatic pauses. Now, here's what becomes very interesting, because Hanyasin got thrown under the bus, but for a different reason. Not because they just wanted to attack him for his occult knowledge, as they did other occultists, but because he was what he claimed to be a prognosticator or a predictor of the future. And one of the things that Hanyasin predicted was the Reichstag fire. You see? He knew of the false flag operation and wanted to get credit for predicting it, so he blabbed about it. In his most famous feat of alleged clairvoyance, Hanyasin, quote-unquote, predicted the Reichstag fire, the event that allowed Hitler to seize absolute power in 1933. This was most likely a very miscalculated use of inside information. Some researchers have claimed that Hanyasin may have been directly involved in the Reichstag fire by hypnotizing the convicted arsonist Marinus van der Lubbe to commit the act of arson. Hanyasin was subsequently assassinated by members of the Sturmabteilung on March 25, 1933, and his body was found over a month later, buried in a field on the outskirts of Berlin. These people don't play, though, right? They don't play games. If you are really on the inside, they take the oaths of loyalty to them very seriously, and they take people out who go against their oaths of loyalty. Fortunately, I never took those oaths of loyalty. I was still at least enough in the exoteric realm, on the outside of it all, that I never actually swore allegiance to these people. Because if you do, then you're done. They don't let you out of those oaths. I did not take those oaths to the occult orders that I was involved in. I worked with them, I observed, they wanted to groom me and take me up into higher levels, but that never materialized, thank God. So Rudolf Hess was a leading member of the Nazi Party. He was an ardent student of astrology and other occult sciences. The Nazi regime was just littered with occultists, filled with dark occultists. This guy was a low-ranking man. He was like Hitler's next in line to take over as chancellor, but he didn't have any real political power, you know. The real occultists were all behind the scenes, and we'll get to those people. But, Hess was just a poster child of the Nazis. He wasn't... I'm sorry, folks, I'm knocked my recording mic down. Just give me a moment. Okay. He was a prominent member of the Nazi Party, but as far as real power being wielded, it was not Hess, okay? He was appointed as the deputy Führer to Adolf Hitler on April 21st, 1933. Hess held that position until 1941, when he flew solo to Scotland in an attempt to negotiate the UK's exit from World War II. His plane was shot down, and he was taken prisoner and convicted of war crimes. He was serving a life sentence when he committed suicide in 1987. Again, you'll see the theme of suicide of these people and occultists all over the place. In 1919, Hess enrolled in the University of Munich, where he studied geopolitics under occultist Karl Haushofer, a prominent proponent of the concept of Lebensraum, or living space, which became one of the pillars of Nazi ideology. Hess joined the Nazi Party on July 1st, 1920, and was at Hitler's side for the failed beer hall putsch on November 8th, 1923. While serving his prison sentence for the attempted coup, Hess assisted Hitler with Mein Kampf. This is one of his big claims to fame. And of course, Mein Kampf became a foundation of the political platform of the Nazi Party. Now, Hess was a longtime associate of Karl Haushofer, and this is one of the people that really informed both Hitler and Hess's ideologies. And he did that through what he called geopolitik, or what we now call geopolitics, and Lebensraum. Karl Haushofer was a German general and professor whose concept of geopolitik greatly influenced the ideological development of Adolf Hitler. Haushofer also coined the political use of the term Lebensraum, a concept Hitler used to justify genocide. Under the Nuremberg laws regarding race, Haushofer's half-Jewish wife and their children were categorized as Mischlinge, race mixers. So again, even their own people came down under levels of persecution if they didn't fully conform to what the good Nazi was in their structure of control. After retiring from the German army with the rank of Major General in 1919, Haushofer forged a close friendship with Rudolf Hess, who became his personal assistant. He became a teacher of politics and philosophy, and I would say probably occult ideology, to both Hess and Hitler while they were in Landsberg prison following the failed beer hall putsch of 1923. Every Wednesday between June 24th and December 12th, 1924, Haushofer traveled from Munich to Landsberg and offered hours of intense personal mentoring to both Hess and Hitler, whom Haushofer called his young eagles. Historian Joachim Fest stated that bringing Haushofer and Hitler together was the most important personal contribution that Rudolf Hess made to the creation of National Socialism. And again, most people never would ever hear Haushofer's name. One of the most influential ideologues of the Third Reich prior to the rise of the Third Reich. After the establishment of the Nazi government, Rudolf Hess protected Haushofer's wife from the Nuremberg laws. Under Hitler's regime, Haushofer became rich and influential, but his influence shrank abruptly after Hess was captured in the United Kingdom. So you see, this is how they take take care of each other in a certain way. Hess was protecting his political and ideological mentor, but once Hess went out of the picture, then they came after Haushofer and his wife. Before being prosecuted at the Nuremberg tribunals for complicity in Nazi war crimes, Haushofer committed suicide together with his wife near their home in Bavaria, Germany. So he committed suicide with his wife to avoid being brought up on war crimes charges at Nuremberg. And folks, I'm not going to have any particular place I'm going